to 7 Minutes with Evan. Today we are going to be talking about William Wilberforce. Not the same William as William Tyndall. It's a really common English name, and everybody in England from the 1700s had it. William Wilberforce was born in a house on the high streets of Hull in Yorkshire, England on 2nd August 1759. He was the only son of Robert Wilberforce, who was a wealthy merchant. On October 1776, when he was 17, he went to St. John's College in Cambridge. He had a party kind of lifestyle because he was very rich. However, even though he had this big party lifestyle, he still managed to get his BA degree in 1781 and his Master's of Art degree in 1788. He and his friend Pitt got parliamentary seats, and they were very good at what they did. On October 1784, he decided to travel to Europe with his family, or at least the mainland of Europe. There, he became a devoted Christian. Not too long later, when he returned, a man by the name of Reverend James Ramsay had already written an essay called An Essay on the Treatment and Conversion of African Slaves in the British Colonies. It was about how horribly the African slaves had been treated there and how appalling the conditions were. After the publication of this book, after many years, at a dinner party on the 13th of March, 1787, Wilberforce and a team of abolitionists agreed to campaign in Parliament against slavery. Wilberforce felt that God was calling him, and that society needed to be reformed, and he wanted to start the Human Rights Campaign. On the 12th of May, 1789, he made his first major speech in the House of Commons. In April 1791, his bill for the abolition of slavery was defeated in the House of Commons. On the 26th of February, 1793, another was narrowly defeated by just 8 votes. Shortly thereafter, he had success in the House of Commons, where they wanted to abolish slavery, but not in the House of Lords. What is this whole House of Commons, House of Lords thing anyways? The House of Commons and the House of Lords are basically senates. It's just that the House of Commons has a bunch of normal, everyday society people, and the House of Lords has big, noble kings and queens and princes. New Prime Minister Lord Grenville wanted to introduce an abolition bill in the House of Lords, and it won massively. On the 25th of March, 1807, no more boats were allowed to carry slaves, but slavery was still in existence. Wilberforce, after having succeeded in banning the carrying of slaves across dangerous waters and dangerous conditions, also fought for workers' rights, animals' rights, and Sunday schools for the poor. Here's the big points. He was a Christian hero, and he told us that slavery is not okay. But Evan, in the Bible it says that slavery is okay. What? Are you kidding me? No, it does not. Yeah, it does. In Ephesians chapter 6, verses 5 to 9, he says,
Slaves, obey your human masters with fear and trembling in the sincerity of your heart as you would Christ. Don't work only while being watched as people pleasers, but as slaves of Christ. Do God's will from your heart. Serve with a good attitude as to the Lord and not to people, knowing that whatever good each one does, slave or free, he will receive this back from the Lord.
Okay, we need to talk about slavery in the Bible. Right after these verses where Paul's going on about slavery and how slaves need to obey their human masters, he also says, and masters, in the 9th verse, treat your slaves the same way without threatening them, because you know that both their master and yours is in heaven, and there is no favoritism with him. We know that Paul says numerous times that all people are equal before God. Things about slavery in the Roman era. 1. Slavery was not based on race. People sold themselves into slavery all the time so they could get food, so they could pay off debt. It was a normal thing. 2. As much of a third of the population was enslaved. 3. Slaves weren't lower status. Plenty of slaves functioned properly as doctors or lawyers and had families and owned property and everything. Point is, Paul didn't think that slavery was okay. It's just that slavery was such a big part of the Roman culture that it would be like trying to get rid of people's iPhones nowadays. He also knew that if everybody became Christian and they actually followed the rules of God, then they wouldn't have slaves. Alright, today's wacky facts are being replaced by... Alright, here's the problem. I spent all my time today doing some Coke thing with Tom Mason so that we could have JKTV Coke stuff. So, please go and check it out. We exploded Cokes with Mentos. It was pretty cool. Now it's replacing 7 Minutes with Evan Wacky Facts. Alright, thank you, and I will see you next time on 7 Minutes with Evan. Now remember, be like Ben. Ben has been doing all my challenges. Ben is a young guy, and he's been watching all my videos, and he's been doing the challenges, so be like Ben. Also, remember to check out the video on Philippians that I will be posting sometime in the next few weeks. Thank you, and I will see you next time on 7 Minutes with Evan, talking about heaven.